I'm here to talk about a village dog, jungle dog, pariah dog. What are all those things and what does it have to do with Rescue Rex? Well, Rescue Rex is a village jungle pariah dog. He's a Southeast Asia pariah dog, jungle dog, actually. And in reality, if you know about domesticated canines, dogs, that the majority in the world are actually what are called free roaming dogs, free ranging dogs, and that is village dogs in the majority. This is the work basically of Dr. Ray Coppinger, who's one of the first people to document them and study them around the world in different locations. There's a lot here because most people, especially in the United States and parts of Western Europe, think of dogs as the artificially bred and selected purebreds, as it were, the registries, things like the American Kennel Club with its cartel mafia control over certain obedience and other competitions, especially on the conformation for the show, dictating what is and what is not a dog for a specific breed. Well, these breeds are all artificial. As in nature, there's a natural selection process going on. And if you look around the world, you will see around the equator that this gravitates towards a dog short-coated, weighs about 30 to 35 in pounds, that is. It's about 15 kilos, 15 to 17 kilos is about the maximum generally. The equatorial village dogs are pariah dogs. They evolved for this because of the energy demands. Their coat is short. Most are sort of look like a lion color, a kind of a tan brownish color. There are some variations, of course. They have erect ears, and their tails will curl up. There's like the Arctic breeds. It's called the Spitz. There are 5 different things that branch off from the wolf. Now, wolves and domesticated dogs are similar, but yet very different. Just like humans and primates, especially chimpanzees, are similar but very different. Some of the behavior patterns are equal, but there's huge differences. And one of the things, of course, here with domesticated dogs, their gestation period, they are not photoperiodic, meaning that they come into season. They will mate all year round. Wolves do not. Wolves mate once a year. They have a litter generally of 5 pups. Takes 2 years for them to come to sexual adult maturity where they can hunt on their own, and the entire pack helps in the raising. Dogs generally go about 8 weeks. The mother weans them. They're on their own, and there's a different whole strategy. They're predators. All dogs are predators, but they are scavengers far more than wolves are. Coyotes kind of in the between, but I don't want to get digressing onto all the different types of canines. But I'm here to do is talk a little bit about pariah village dogs or jungle dogs. As I said, generally they're within 15 to 17 kilos. They are brown, short-coated, dissipate the heat. They don't need so much energy. They can live longer because they don't need as much energy as larger dogs. So as you go further north, or if you go up in altitude, the dogs will get larger through natural selection, not artificial selection where you control the breeding of the dogs and you breed pairs and you give them food. Now, this is a large difference. I'm talking about what we would consider domesticated dogs who live on their own. Now, Rex is that. He existed on his own for 2 years. So your pet dog, especially if you've got some sort of mutant created artificial breed, such as a Chihuahua or a Saint Bernard, those dogs would not be able to last on their own for 2 years, and they generally don't. When they become strays, for example, that's a stray is defined as a dog that was human owned and probably bred, and humans planned the breeding more or less, and they reared the dog at some point, and the dog escaped. That is a stray. That's wholly different than jungle and village dogs because they are the result of non-planned. Humans are not in control of every animal. They would like to be, but of canines and domesticated cats, they generally are not in the world population. There's about 1 billion dogs on the planet. Still, that's way less than how many humans there are on the planet. 15% of that is what you consider purebred kennel club registered breeds. Breeds are an artificial thing that came in that people started doing. You see 2 large periods of time that humans were influencing dogs in the Middle Ages, and then in the 1800s, in the 1850s, 60, 70, 80, 90, a lot of the things that you consider breeds now were created then by artificially controlling which dog bred with what, and then eliminating dogs that did not meet what that basically looks. And now when you start breeding for looks, you cause genetic problems. This is one of the things. I love Dobermans. They were great dogs, but they've been destroyed since the 1970s, especially in the United States. They have so many genetic problems that without an infusion of probably wolf DNA or coyote DNA, they're going to go extinct. They have too many problems. Their life expectancy is dropping. Many dogs are like this. Great Danes are like this. They're not the only dogs. And there's hip dysplasia, which is a common occurrence in purebred dogs, far more than jungle dogs. Jungle dogs, just for their ability to live, to make it to adulthood, means that they're hardy beyond what you can understand. And the DNA analysis of them is very strong, very few genetic defects, basically. So these are the majority of dogs on the planet. Now, Rex, in the case of Rex was living on his own. I found him existing with another dog that was his friend, who was a typical village dog, a soy dog, as they're called in Thailand. And I worked with both of them and many others, actually, many others. I really got a fondness for the Pariah dogs. They're incredibly intelligent. They're independent. They don't suffer from a lot of things that people who deal with purebred dogs deal with. They don't have the sort of anxieties and such because of during their ontogeny, they go through a period where their fear training is for their environment, and they put up with a lot. And so these are very specific topics. I'm just trying to glance over a whole bunch so that you can get an idea of what a village dog is, because people in North America don't know. When I talk about Rex here in the United States, since I've got him out of the jungle, which is an incredibly long story, was very difficult to do. And getting him out of Thailand and down from the north of Thailand up near Burma, where we were at, down to Bangkok to get out of Thailand and then across through Korea to the United States was incredibly difficult and very expensive, although not as expensive as buying certain dogs in the United States, however. But what I have to say is that when people see him, they don't know what he is, number one. They think he's a German Shepherd mixed with something else, and they don't understand his personality. It's vastly different than most other dogs that you would meet in North America, and they haven't seen him. They don't know his DNA. His DNA is wildly different. He is not from the North American continent, number one. They've never seen a village dog, because in the United States, maybe on the Indian reservations, there are some. But the United States goes crazy and thinks that every dog must be owned. And if not, someone must go capture that dog and take him away to the pound or the shelter. That's what they do. And the rest of the world, dogs are tolerated existing on the periphery of human society. And this is how they exist, largely through scavenging, and also people who give them food here and there. It's not a daily thing. It's not a regular thing. These people do not own the dogs. They do not put collars on the dogs. They don't have leashes on the dogs. They don't vaccinate the dogs. They don't do any of that sort of stuff that is common in North America, and especially the United States. This is something people can't grasp in the United States, and this is one of the things I'm trying to educate people about this. Like, you will never see this dog. This dog does not exist in the United States. This dog does not exist in the state I'm in. There's no other dogs like this. And within the entire United States, there are some dogs that are Pariah dogs from Thailand here, but they're not the same as a Rex. He's on the periphery of village dogs. He's larger. He's 22 kilos. He's completely white. There is no traces of any other coloring on him, which is unique. But this is something that I think is important to educate the general public about, because they don't know about, hear him in the background. They don't know about pariah dogs. They don't know about jungle dogs. They just think that every dog is a purebred dog or a mongrel, meaning that there's something wrong with them. They're somehow lesser of value for not being this purebred Chesapeake Bay Retriever or Golden Retriever or Dalmatian or Shih Tzu. All these dogs were created by humans. They were not naturally selected. The dogs that are naturally selected are village dogs, jungle dogs, pariah dogs that exist around the world. And if you're very interested in learning a lot more, I will be talking about this in upcoming videos and stuff, and to my private people who are on the Deep Dog Bond method and website, I should say. And this is something that is very interesting, because your idea of someone having a dog was purposely bred. The dog has been around humans his entire life. The dog had a collar, is used to collar, leashes, and vaccinations. Rex never had any of that. Rex was wary of me, initially, as he should be, to survive. I have spent more time with this dog, and I don't mean just I've had this dog. I've spent actual contact time. The minimum I have spent with him is 23 hours a day. Now, a lot of you can't do that, but this has given me an insight into jungle and pariah dogs at the very close range. And also, I have worked with a great many of them. Like I said, I really like them. There's a whole, they're vastly different. And I've worked with lots of different dogs, hunting dogs, sporting dogs, working dogs, police dogs, war dogs. I've worked with all these sorts of dogs in the purebred society, and I've worked with what could be considered mixed breed dogs within the purebred. But the pariah dogs and the jungle dogs are very different, very different. You can find them around the world, like I said. And again, I just wanted to put this out there as something that you're probably unaware of, and I'm educating you. And if you get to meet Rex, who's been called the best looking dog in the world, which I heartily agree, I heartily, with all my heart, agree with that statement, and he definitely is. You'll be seeing a dog that you won't see anywhere else. As if you live in North America, in the United States, you can see them in Mexico and Central America, and in South America they exist in places, but in the United States, they're not. They don't exist. And maybe out on the Indian reservations, but that's about it. Anyway, so I just want to give this thing a little bit about Rex from the project, the Rescue Rex, and say that yes, we still trying to cover the costs and expenses of getting Rex out of Thailand, and there's still a GoFundMe up for that, actually, at the Rescue Rex, and he's on Instagram as Rescue Rex Dog, Rescue Rex Dog. I'll put that in the YouTube information. But anyway, I just want to give that out there, because this is a very important statement to make. And a lot of dog trainers they don't deal with the hard dogs. They don't deal with the sight hounds. They don't deal with Salukis. They don't deal with Borsos. They don't deal with Gaigos. They don't deal with greyhounds, other than racing them. They don't deal with pariah dogs. They don't deal with Arctic dogs. They're all, everybody who wants to be a trainer, they're using the easy dogs, using the border collies, they're using Malinois. That's what you're seeing at German Shepherds. You're seeing the easy dogs, Shelties, Kelpies, Australian cattle dogs. These dogs are easy compared to dealing with the dogs I mentioned. Anyway, that's a training thing, and I'll do another video about that, because I have an interesting story to tell about all that. But anyway, okay, so this is Christoph Clugston. The website is the Deep Dog Bond Method, and you can find out more about me as far as training on that page, and you can also find out more about the methods and the services that we offer, especially if you happen to be in the United States. But we do worldwide, and I have. So, okay, that's it.